This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes! It's a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, happy Friday to everybody. Welcome back to A's Cast Live as we're taking up for the next 2 hours, getting you ready for a little A's baseball. First of all, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Link Soul, our new sponsor, for our new clothes. As I told you, a hoodie. How sweet is this? Yeah, can you play golf in it? Can you go to dinner in it? Can you go to the beach? We're going to have to get this out of the way so people can see.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can see the Link Soul right here. On here, and then the logo's right there. I'm a big quarter zip guy.
Yeah.
This thing is comfortable, but also has a hood. It's perfect. I'm going to wear it tonight when I go down to the beach, as you said.
Yeah.
So I'm going down to Pismo.
Like, I'm trying to, like, letting people know. It's like it's a lifestyle brand. Linksoul.com. Now, a lot you're going to see, you think, it's just golf. No, it's not golf. Like this, what I'm wearing, like I said, it's a hoodie. You wouldn't even think. I mean, this is like whatever you want to do. You want to go to the grocery store. You want to pal around. You want to look nice. I mean, the fabric is unbelievable. And, yeah, I could tee it up and play 18 in this easy, or go to the beach, or go to dinner tonight, which after we get done here, I do have to take my lovely wife to dinner. I will be wearing this.
It's not an anniversary, is it? Or
No.
Just a Friday night dinner.
Who has an anniversary in March?
I don't know. People
who didn't want to pay for summertime prices to get married. That's where
I was going with it.
Coming up here, we'll have our national baseball columnist once again, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. I'm telling you, support our new sponsor, because I'm super excited to have this throughout the entire season. And we'll be wearing the different lines, right? This is the spring collection. There'll be the summer collection. So really looking forward to that. Eno Sarris is going to be here at 11:30. Geoff Blum, Know Your Astros. We could have played Know Your Astros with an Astro.
Oh, I should have done that. Let's see. Could he do better than Johnny D?
I think so. But you never know. Geoff Blum, former Cal Bear, World Series hero with the Chicago White Sox, now television broadcaster for the Astros, will be here at noon. And then Jed Lowrie at 12:30. Really good interview. We've taped it. And there's going to be a few things in this interview that are going to stand out. And they're going to help answer a couple questions of things that I have certain things I've kind of helped you. You got to remember, when I do these shows and I do the post-game show, there's certain things I kind of lead you there. Sometimes you got to find out, or you got to read between the lines. You got to see the forest through the trees. And Jed actually, there's a couple things, and I'm gonna have you look out for him at 12:30. Before we do the interview, I'm gonna say, hey, just notice when he talks about this. And you'll go, oh. It's interesting now when you look back at teams. It's interesting when you look back at players, teammates, but no question, Jed Lowrie is, and hopefully still will be a grade A. We'd love to have him still in the family. I mean, what a wealth of knowledge. But after all these years, 14 years, hanging him up, a terrific career despite all the injuries, had some great seasons, including an all-star year at the age of 34 with the Oakland Athletics. And I know he was a fan favorite. The double flap, the great Gazoo helmet where it was like us in Little League. I mean, Jed's a super good guy. And I will at some point talk about, and that's another thing you got to realize, we celebrate nuttiness. We celebrate, we love that as the A's. But folks, too much of it is a detriment. Too much nuttiness, too much quirky, too much. There's got to be an adult in the room. And Jed Lowrie on multiple stints. Oh, we love Reddick and Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, there's only so much of that. And behind the scenes, guys only want so much of that. And there has to be leaders, and there has to be the adult in the room. And on multiple occasions, Jed Lowrie, whether it was 13-14 or 18, kind of 17-18, was the adult in the room for the Oakland Athletics. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. Eno Sarris at 11:30. I have in front of me the latest, most up-to-date preview publication that there is in baseball. There is nothing more. This has just come out this week. All the preview magazines, most everything you're going to read online was done a few weeks ago, right? Like, you've had injuries. Wainwright's hurt from WBC. Hoskins is hurt, Philly.
Kyle Tucker has a sprained ankle from the WBC.
Ranger Suarez is hurt. Who else? Oh, Bryce Harper's already out. So Philly's got some guys out. So, but this is the most up-to-date thing. This has been printed this week. The information in this Sports Weekly baseball preview is this week. And yesterday I asked the question because I don't want to sound like get off my lawn, but yeah, I mean, the diminished role of the starting pitcher is every year gets more evident. Every year. And back in the day, and not too long ago, who your opening day starter meant something. It was your front horse. It was the guy that you were leading. This is the leader of our staff. We're going on this 6-month journey. We're saying this guy is going to be the guy that is not only the leader every 5 days, but he helps out everybody. He is our top guy. We're going to get 33, 34, 200-plus innings out of him. Back in the day, 300 innings. He is a major part of whether we're going to be good or not. And I asked the question, is that the case anymore? I asked it yesterday. Do we care? Does baseball care? Do baseball teams care? Is that first look? Opening day. Opening day used to mean so much. Is it just one game of 162? Yes, it is. But it is opening day. And the reason why I talk about this publication is that they have that the 5 starting pitchers, Blackburn, Fuji, Kaprelian, Ruzinski, that's all accurate, right? You would not disagree with any of those 4?
No.
I mean, Blackburn's now hurt.
Blackburn's hurt, yeah.
But that would be. And the 5th one was J.P. Sears, what could be Waldachuk, could be Muller, could be Aller. But Muller's not even on this list. There's not a list you're going to find that has Kyle Muller. He's one of potential guys. He is now the opening day starter for the Oakland Athletics. Love the confidence, love the skill set. He could be a very special pitcher. There's no question about it. When we talked to him down at spring training, the interview is still up on the A's YouTube page, where he's got the kind of confidence where he says, hey, listen, I'm here to stay. I'm not going back to the minors. I'm done with the minors. I love that kind of confidence. But he's never made a big league rotation at a spring training. He just has a handful of starts as a spot starter for the Atlanta Braves, which he told us, especially last year. I don't know the other year where he actually, how many do you have? What are his numbers? He had 3 last year and like 9.
Yeah, I think it was 7 or 8 in 2021. 2021, Muller started 8 games. He appeared in 9. He had a 4.17 ERA. Last year, he started 3 games. He had an 8.03 ERA for the Braves.
Yeah, so we're not talking about a track record in big league baseball of this guy's come up and dominated.
Yeah, 11 starts, 12 games.
And he said to us that the way it worked in Atlanta last year is that Atlanta, obviously really deep as the rankings of the farm system have come out, and they're still one of, God, were they number 4? They're still one of the most high.
The Braves? I thought the Braves were last.
I thought they were rated high. I might be wrong.
I think the Braves are last.
Are they last? Oh, they are last.
They don't have anyone left. They traded everyone away.
Yeah, here. Yeah, this is what I'm looking at. 2021, they were ranked 3rd. 2020 at the preseason, 2021, they were ranked 4th. And then preseason 2021, they were ranked 3rd. That's what I was saying. Yeah, they were. I knew the number 4. So they were just recently one of the best farm systems in all of baseball. And you can make a case they were the best because all the guys, they brought up a bunch of guys who have helped them win a World Series and constantly be in the playoffs. Muller talked to us down at Spring about how they essentially had 5 guys, and whose ever turn it was, that's the guy who got the opportunity. So it wasn't like, okay, let's push him back so he can come up here. It was turnkey. It was like, whose turn is it? It's his turn. Okay, bring him up. So that's how Muller started in the big leagues last year. Telling you, and now to name him the opening day starter. So it gets back to that question that I had yesterday in my notes. Does the opening day starter matter anymore? What does it mean? Kyle Muller could roll off 4 Cy Young awards, be a future Hall of Famer for all I know. But right now, knowing what you know, as you just mentioned, high ERA in 2 opportunities as a young player, not even that young, but a young player with the Atlanta Braves, he's not gone up to the big league level and shoved. And to think that where we are, and obviously Blackburn, you thought would be the guy. Hey, Brzezinski has come over with some credentials from the KBO. You just signed Fuji. The big deal's Fuji, but Fuji's basically becoming your Saturday guy. Yeah, you're going to see Fuji pitch on a lot of Saturdays. I mean, the whole idea of how this thing is going is kind of crazy.
You asked me, or I thought about it, and then you asked me a follow-up to it after, but with the help of the great David Feldman, I went back and looked because we were talking, has a guy ever gotten traded over to the A's and started opening day that same year? It's happened once, and it happened in 1976 when the A's acquired, I have it right here, acquired Mike Torres from the Baltimore Orioles in 1976, and they traded Reggie Jackson to Baltimore on April 2nd, and he started the opener on April 9th.
Oriole great Reggie Jackson?
The one whole year he played there. So Mike Torres, the only guy, but he had prior experience at least. I mean, Muller doesn't.
Wait, prior experience?
He was like 30 when he came over.
Yeah, he was got in the big leagues in 1967. You're talking 1976. Mike Torres was an established veteran.
Back-to-back opening day starter.
I mean,
the A's.
You've had plenty of guys who get traded where you traded for a pitcher and he's your opening day starter. That's pretty standard, right? Free agents, you trade for a guy.
DeGrom starting for the Rangers as an example.
DeGrom's gonna be the opening day.
That was announced today.
He's gonna
all 4.5 innings.
You know what? I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it and he may be right.
Evan Grant had it on Twitter.
Maybe right. DeGrom, he's barely thrown, but okay. Kyle Muller was just traded over.
Yeah.
He was just traded, and he wasn't traded over. I mean, he was traded over last season, but he wasn't traded over to get into the Mike Torres. Like, to give you an example, Mike Torres was traded to be in the rotation. Kyle Muller was traded to come over and let's get this kid. Let's groom this kid to be a big lefty for us and someday be in the rotation. I mean, it's just it is a little eye-opening, but to me, it gets back to I don't think the value of the opening day starter is there what it used to be. I don't think they see it that way. I don't think they see starting pitching. I think a lot of baseball has changed how they view starting pitching. And that's why they don't demand a lot out of their starting pitching. They actually want less. They want less productivity, no matter what they say. And I know people will be like, "Oh, here he goes again." But yeah, I mean, I get back to that 4,374 outs. How are you going to get them? You're going to get it with all bullpen guys? You're going to get it with all just shuffling guys up and back from bullpens from the minor league system? And now you're going to go to a 6-man rotation at times during the year. That cuts your bullpen now to 7 guys. I mean, that tipping point about pitching is so evident. Like, how are you going to utilize all these guys, especially once you start, I mean, look who's going on opening day, Shohei Ohtani. They're talking about 6. You have an organization saying we're committing to 6-man rotation. But really, if a guy goes down, a guy goes on the IL, I mean, your rotation now really is like a 12, 13-man rotation. And is there 12 or 13 guys in every organization good enough to be big league starters? And the answer is no. There's not enough starting pitching on the planet. I mean, you just had the World Baseball Classic. I mean, that's the best the world has to offer. You're trying to tell me you found 12 to 13 guys on each of those teams worthy of being able to play in Major League Baseball? No. And there's not 12 to 13 guys in every organization worthy to pitch in Major League Baseball. It's going to be fascinating to see how it works out. I mean, you imagine? I mean, the Angels, it's already failed, and they're gonna keep going after it. It's already failed. They don't have enough guys. Even healthy, they don't have enough guys. And I think about us, if there's times where we go to a 6-man rotation and has as little that we got out of, I mean, that was one thing I always harped on about Cap, and where I'm hoping Cap becomes the guy this year, because I think Cap, I'm happy for Cap. He's healthy. He's feeling like himself. I think Cap can be the guy. They've been grooming this guy from UCLA to the Yankees to here to be somebody who could be one of the top starters in your rotation. He hated the fact that he couldn't go more than 6. I mean, if you're going to have a bunch of 5-inning outings every single night, well, I think they're okay with that. And then that gets back to my question. Do they care about the opening day starter? Or is that just a thing of the past?
I think we talked about it yesterday, and I mentioned about how it means something to guys, I think, still, like a Verlander, Scherzer, if you have guys like that. But I think I'm with you.
Think about what you just said.
I mean, you're looking at some of the all-time greats. I mean, I think
you're talking about guys who are how old?
Close to 40. I mean, Aaron Nola starting his 6th straight.
Verlander 40?
There's Aaron Nola starting his 6th straight opening day for the Phillies.
I mean, we're gonna bring up that. Let me see. Isn't Verlander 40? Scherzer's 39. How old is Verlander? Just
40.
Scherzer, yeah, 40. You brought up a 40-year-old. Scherzer.
Scherzer's 39. Well, it doesn't matter. Only one of them is going to be able to start opening day, unfortunately, for the Mets.
Yeah.
Unless they piggyback.
Oh, that's them. Yeah. Not only are you mentioning 2 guys, they're on the same team.
Yeah.
That's how ridiculous this is. Scherzer will be 39 this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first 2 guys that come to your mind. So I asked the question, is there really value in the opening day starter anymore? You immediately go to 2 guys who are 40 and 138 going to be 39, and they're both on the same team.
I know. I saw it earlier, and they had it listed every team's opening day starter. It was on Twitter. I'll see if I can find it when we go back to or later on in the show. But the last time the A's had a back-to-back opening day starter was Kendall Graveman. And he wasn't even – the second time he wasn't even – one of them he only started because Sonny Gray had
food poisoning.
Yeah, Rich Hill started before that. It was a free agent the A's brought over. Then Sonny Gray did it twice. The last time a guy started back-to-back opening days for the A's, back in 05, 06 when, or we 05. Yeah, it was Zito.
Wow.
05 and 06.
Wow. That's so hard to believe that we got to go back to our last opening day back-to-back was Kendall Graveman, who's now a relief specialist.
Now a closer pretty much for the White Sox.
For the Chicago White Sox. Wow.
The only free agent pitchers ever to come over here and start on opening day, Dave Stewart, 95. Tom Candiotti in 1998.
That's old Dave Stewart.
Yeah, that's not Dave Stewart coming from the Dodgers or Rangers.
1995?
Yeah, that's after Blue Jays. Candiotti in 98.
Okay.
Ben Sheets in 2010. And the aforementioned 43-year-old Rich Hill now, but back then Rich Hill wasn't 43. He was like 37 or 36 back then.
But maybe if you want to go glass half full, is that this is the start. Mueller is 6'7". He has got the makeup, and maybe he is the next Mark Mulder type pitcher for the A's. We're all of a sudden, this guy's out there, and he's giving you innings. He's giving you great starts. And now with the pitch timer, he's doing it in a quickly manner. And maybe you have a battle. Maybe you throw Waldachuk in there. Now Waldachuk's battling to be the opening day starter. Maybe you build something. That's what Grady Fuson told us. The problem with the A's over the years is nothing's all matched up at the same time. You've either had hitting and the pitching wasn't quite there, or you had the pitching and the hitting wasn't quite there. Well, maybe, this bouillabaisse, this soup you're putting together, and you're stirring it all around, maybe that's going to come up. And if you can have a couple guys who are able to be that ace-like and to be guys that give you big innings, big wins, and we can talk about wins again, that'd be something. But wow, I was shocked. I got to tell you, I was shocked. I mean, with everything that you have, coming up with a guy who's never made the roster at a camp, and that's where I have to adjust. I have to adjust. And I've been doing it, but I have to adjust. Even though I know what works, you can never tell me good starting pitching a lot doesn't work. You can't tell me it doesn't work. We've seen it too many times. But now you're going to start a guy that hopefully is the start of something special. We'll see.
Sorry, I'm still scrolling to see if I can find all the opening day starters. And we can compare where here's what Marcotte had to say about Mueller. We're excited about his future. Kyle, in our mind, is going to be in this rotation for a long time. He's put in work to get to this point. His attitude and enthusiasm, when I told him the drive of the emotion was exactly what you want. That's from Martin Gallegos on Twitter.
Then let me see him go out and give me a strong performance. Right?
Yeah.
Let the words back the actions. Let him come out. If he get dinged up a little bit, hey, it's opening day. If he gives up a couple runs, that's fine. You should score a couple runs. Ohtani's not going to be in there long.
I was going to ask you who goes longer, Ohtani or Mueller.
I mean, coming off the WBC and the way they protect Ohtani, do you think? And by the way, numbers do show. I don't know if we'll have time today to get into it. Numbers do show. Shohei Ohtani pitches better on regular rest than being in a six-man rotation. His numbers are better. Fact. I mean, you go to Baseball Reference and start looking at the numbers. Shohei Ohtani on regular rest in a five-man rotation has better numbers in his career and better numbers last year, especially last year, than when being in a six-man rotation. I mean, it's right there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, God, if you're the Angels right now, and that's what I wonder. Same thing with Fuji. If Fuji goes out and has a great year, is he with us next year?
I'm going to go with most likely not.
If you're the Angels, do you think Ohtani stays with you?
Most likely not.
So are you going to baby Ohtani if this is the last year you have him?
Yeah, and you're trying to make the postseason?
That's something we got to ask Eno. They still sound like they're going to baby Ohtani. And, we're going to monitor his starts, and we're going to, it's like, if this guy basically has put up the trial balloon that I'm out of here, wouldn't you? I mean, if you, once again, we don't know what they've offered. We don't know what they've talked about with his representatives. I don't even know who represents him. But, that's one of those deals where I'm sure there's been years, money bantered back and forth. There's been some type of conversation. And if there's no chance, or it's like, wow, well, you're going to need to get this guy. I mean, if it's something, I would run him into the ground. I would be
sounds mean, but it's true.
Jed Lowrie at 34 years old played 157 games and made the All-Star team. This guy's in his prime. I'm throwing his ass out there every 5 days, and he's hitting every day.
I think the thing with Ohtani,
I'm saving him for the Dodgers, my crosstown rival.
I was going to say, the only thing that you could say that they're maybe considering is if they're out of it, they don't want to run him in the ground, then they can trade him at the deadline.
Okay. If you were a boss, would you, knowing your employee is going to leave, let's say you have a contracted employee, and your employee, he's been talking to other people, he's getting offers, and he's going to leave, and you're not going to match the offers. Are you telling him to go on vacation? Are you telling him, just, play it out? Or are you trying to get as much out of that employee as when you're paying him? You're paying everything. You're paying the medical, you're paying the retirement, you're paying all this stuff to this guy. Are you trying to get as much productivity out of him before he leaves? Or are you just like, hey, take a lot of paid vacations?
They're trying to get the most out of him.
Right? Isn't that would seem like normal? Like that would actually be normal in life? Baseball world is it's bizarre that way. I used to say it was Sonny Gray. What are we protecting Sonny Gray for? And for who? End up being for who? The Yankees, the Reds, the Twins.
Yeah, he's still a Twin. Real quick before we go to break.
You keep staring at it. I'm waiting.
Who do you think's the opening day starter for the Red Sox?
I have no clue.
The Boston Red Sox opening day. Who is their starter?
No clue.
What is he? Mid-30-year-old Corey Kluber starting on opening day.
Washed
Kyle
up Corey Kluber
versus Kyle Gibson of the Orioles.
Here's a question. Whether it's right or it's wrong, a lot of people have talked about what's good for the game lately, right?
Yes.
We have talked about rule changes good for the game. You hammered us repeatedly that the WBC is good for the game. It's good for growing the game. So everybody now is on the horse of growing the game, what's good for the game, what's entertaining for the game. Is not caring about starting pitching good for the game and growing the game?
No. It's not good for the game.
Like having, one of the selling points is who's today's starting pitcher, who's starting today. That's why we even have it. I mean, it's basically like you should take it out. It doesn't matter anymore. But is that good for the game? Is that good for ticket sales? Is that good for television? Is that good for radio? Or does it add spice to the competition? Why do we want to know who's playing quarterback today? Is it the starter? Oh, no, it's the backup. It matters. The guy who has the ball matters. The guy who's handling whatever ball it is. Your point guard matters. Your quarterback matters. Your pitcher matters. So if we're talking about, obviously analytic people are going to come at me and they're going to tell me I'm dead wrong. Okay, but aren't we all on the wavelength of what's best for growing the game in baseball?
We should be.
That's what I thought. It's interesting. We'll ask Eno Sarris. He's Mr. Analytics next, right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Secure your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. From opening weekend against the Angels to the 50th reunion of the 1973 World Series team, to unique giveaways like Pit Viper glasses. There is so much happening at the ballpark this season. Don't miss out on other homestands as we take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, Cubs, and Braves. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Now through April 23rd, new customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet during our limited time Xfinity 10G network launch celebration for just $25 a month for 2 years. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
It's that time of the year again, A's fans. Opening day is almost here. Join us on Thursday, March 30th for the start of the season when your A's take on Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels.
And it swung on and drilled left center field. Martinez going back at the track right to the wall, and he will watch it fly.
Get to the ballpark early and snag a 2023 A's Magnet schedule. So buy yours today at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Innovation. Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All righty. Do we have the man's open? Do we have it?
The Eno Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Well, Eno, not only do we have Fieldwork, but we have our new sponsor, and we're wearing the gear Link Soul. You got to love it. Great for golf, great for going out, looking stylish. You name it. I've got the hoodie on.
Send me some.
Got a pullover here for Cody.
You gotta send me some. I need some swag.
We got some polos. Well, you need to also check out linksoul.com.
There you go.
What's happening?
It's almost here. It's almost here. By this time next week, we will have actual regular season baseball.
Yes, about something to actually really, really talk about. You know, and I guess I'm making too much of this, and I'm okay with that because everybody lately has been telling me what's good for the game. Let's promote the game. What's best for the game. I just look at some of these teams. I don't think opening day starters mean what they used to mean. I mean, that used to be something really special. The guy that is going to lead your staff. Now that we're using 12, 13 starters a year, opening day starters, it just one of 162 starts still or now?
Yeah, I mean, you do still have an order, but I think it's a little bit about the rampant injury problem in baseball, where we've just spent spring seemingly body blow after body blow of, big guys. We just got Reese Hoskins is hurt, and I know he's not a pitcher, but just generally, we get hurt through spring. And so the opening day starter is usually like, who's the healthy guy? It's not always who's necessarily our number one. I think that comes into play a little bit with the A's, where if Paul Blackburn was healthy, I kind of assumed that he'd be the opening day starter. This is not to say anything poor about Kyle Muller. It looks like a good young pitcher, but it's opening day starter used to mean a sort of a combination of experience and quality, right? And I think Paul Blackburn was the guy for the A's for much of last year, and he probably would have been the opening day start if he wasn't hurt.
Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely, to me, I've been talking about this tipping point about pitching, and ever since baseball capped it, and we've said, hey, you can only use 13 guys. How you use those 13 is up to you, but you can only use 13 guys. I think this year also will be another real interesting year of how teams are going to operate. How you going to, as we like to say on the show, you got to get, without extra innings, you got to get 4,374 outs. How are you going to get all those outs?
And it's like almost like they've put that into an optimization engine and decided, oh yeah, instead of like guys throwing 6 and other guys throwing 1, we're gonna have guys throwing 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and we'll figure it out that way. And that's not as exciting. I agree. If I go to the game, I want to know who's starting tonight, and I want them to go 6, most likely, just from a stars standpoint. And somebody asked me recently if I actually had the commissioner's power and could do anything I wanted to, what would I do? And I think I would limit the number of starters a number of pitchers that a team could have. I would roll it back to 12 or 11, because then you're asking every one of your pitchers to go deeper and do more innings. And so you're going to have actual starters. And the only problem with that is I know that's not something that even a commissioner could do, because it requires collective bargaining with the players, and that would be fewer jobs for players. So I don't know, maybe you could do it in tandem with expansion and say, okay, we're going to expand 2 teams. That's a whole bunch of roster slots. You get a whole bunch of roster slots, and for those, give us 2 back. And we're going to go back to 24-man rosters. You can have 12 starting pitchers and 12 hitters, whatever it is, I don't know. Roll it back.
It's a hypothetical. You were asked the question. You're committed, and that was your answer. And by the way, I love it.
Yeah, it would just you'd have to get more bulk from guys if you didn't have, those extra slots.
We're the only sport that we're allowed to take our best players. And well, I guess that's not true, because in the NBA now they're all into
they have load management too.
Yeah, it's funny how the guys that we want to see, the guys that people want to pay the entertainment dollar to see, we're now showcasing them less. And I was asking this to Cody, and I'm thinking about Shohei Ohtani. If I'm the Angels, and I'm thinking this is it, we're not going to have him after this year. And I'm sure they've talked years. I'm sure they've talked numbers. They haven't come to an agreement.
I don't think he wants to stay there, honestly. Okay. He wants to win. He wants to go to a big market.
That's even better. Wouldn't you ride as much as you possibly could out of him
every 5th day?
Wouldn't you?
I mean, you also don't want to get a reputation as having ridden someone into the ground. You want to sign the next pitcher too, right? So you don't want to be the team
every 5 days running them into the ground.
Good. Well done. Yes. Good point.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you also gotta give the players some power in the discussion,
He is actually, to me, he has always seemed like a guy who wanted more.
That's true. He went out there and ran out there and went to the bullpen in one of the better matchups we've ever seen. I think him against Trout for the World Baseball Championship Classic, for the championship. I thought that was amazing. And he was willing to run out to the bullpen to get warm, run back in to take a plate appearance and run back out. So, he's willing to do a lot. You're right.
I've been saying for the last couple of years, Cody even brought it up, like we think that's his best role.
Yeah.
We watched. Hey, I played against Mark Kotze in college when he was Player of the Year,
and he did that, right?
I've seen it. Like it's amazing because you got to remember, a reliever is supposed to be ready in theory in 8 pitches. You're supposed to be heated, ready to,
and it might actually fit his pitching style because he doesn't have great command. He's a power guy.
Yeah, he's a DH, so he can use all the exercise bands. He can be up there on a stationary bike, on a treadmill. He could have his body loose. They could have a bulb. A lot of teams have some.
Well, you might actually play him in the outfield if he's a reliever.
I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna say, listen, you got to be ready to close. And a lot of them, they have mounds and batting cages. Everything's you don't even have to, because being at these ballparks, you don't even have to send him down to the bullpen. He could warm up where they're doing batting practice. You could have a mound there for him, and that he's getting loose, takes his at-bat, comes down, throws 8 pitches, boom, he comes out of the dugout ready to rock. Because
throwing 102.
It's basically John Smoltz all over again. Hey, Smoltzy, you don't need 5 pitches. You need 2. Fastball, slider, boom, 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 and there's a save. And now I'm getting 60 appearances out of him versus, oh my God, will I even get 25?
Yeah, but if you pitchers, they'll stay a starter as long as they can, as long as as people let them, and then they'll. But that might be how he ends his career.
Yeah, it's interesting to think what is the max value for him, but if I'm not going to have him, I'm guarantee I'm going to play him as much as I possibly can. If I know he's leaving me, I'm getting every inch, every ounce, everything I can get out of him. Put a bow on the WBC. Obviously, the ratings were fantastic over in Asia. Here in the United States, they were really good. No question about it. I mean, I think the championship game was the highest rated game or one of the highest. It was close to game 3 of the NLCS between the Phillies and the Padres. Hey, if you can get television ratings for baseball in March during the tournament time, I mean, obviously from a growth standpoint, a television standpoint, and most importantly, a revenue standpoint, it was a success.
1.3 million people sat in seats to watch it, which is pretty impressive again for the time of year and what it is. I think it showed that it's not going anywhere. And here's a little, it's not a metric per se, but just an interesting thing. They recorded a hockey player saying everyone's talking about that at bat between Ohtani and Trout, and everyone's talking about baseball. And it was one of the first times I've seen someone from another sport be like, yeah, everyone's talking about baseball. So and he was saying, we're missing that best of the best, on the world stage. We haven't had that in a while. And I don't know the particulars of hockey and if they had world championships or what he's talking about and what he's missing, but it's kind of cool to have someone from another sport say, ooh, baseball's doing something cool and we should pay attention. So
because it's so tough to figure out when to do it. For the hockey, it was Olympics, right? And you'd have to shut down the sport during the winter.
And that's tough for the WBC too.
Like you're not going to shut down. You're not going to shut down the month of July for the WBC. You're not going to do that. And let's face it, deep down, what's everybody saying? I know all my friends are like, I like the WBC. I just don't want guys from my team playing on it.
Yeah, because the injury factor. Yeah,
I just don't want guys in March. So I wouldn't want, like, if the A's, we had a bunch of star players, I wouldn't want A's players going all hell bent in March. And
I don't think the players would really want to do it in November. I mean, you're tired at the end of the season,
and you can't go against football. It's death,
right?
Yeah, going against football. I mean, it's one thing going against March Madness, but if you go against the NFL and college football, no one's going to care. Golf has tried that for years with the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. It's like nobody cares. Saturdays and Sundays, it's going to be college and it's going to be pro football. The ratings show it. They're the most watched television shows every year in the United States. It's like,
do you think we could do one over All-Star break and just no?
I mean, you think a guy getting hurt now is bad?
In the middle of the season.
In first place in the middle of the season, hitting the thumb, and he breaks his thumb. Oh my God, we would be. You think people are flipping out now? It's like, there's just not a perfect time. But you know what? This is, if it's only once every 3 years, this is really the time.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I don't watch soccer like that much, but I watch the World Cup.
You're gonna get the soccer haters now.
But I've watched the World Cup. I watched the World Cup, and I think the WBC could be on that level.
I mean, is it something we should do every year or every 2 years?
No, it's more special. The World Cup is more special because you do it every 4 years.
I'm thinking like the Ryder Cup in golf is every 2 years. And that way you're constantly having the best players in it. Now, and the big, I was always questioning, like, why are we doing this? And I had everybody come up with their biggest takeaways of the final game. And Johnny Dasco, our new broadcaster, is talking about, it's Trout and Ohtani. And I can't remember what Cody came up with, but it was something about the game. Mine was, am I the only guy that noticed after the game that two guys that literally have been at each other's throats for years are taking pictures together, putting their arms around each other, and passing out medals together? That'd be the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, and Tony Clark, the head of the players. I was saying to myself, why the hell is Tony Clark out there? So me, I want to.
They both made money, right?
I digged a little bit. The World Baseball Classic is owned by Major League Baseball and the Players Union.
There it is.
You didn't even know. None of us knew that.
We talked about this last week. We were wondering who made the money.
Where's the money going? So, do you know why the players don't care that an Edwin Diaz or an Altuve or now Wainwright get hurt? Because they're making
still got paid.
To follow, as my late father would say, follow the money.
Nice. Well done.
It's for baseball, no question. And it goes back to, you want to talk random. This will be a random question for you, but it was random for us. Years ago, I think it was it Logan Davidson, one of the many Scott Boras guys we drafted in the first, I've been Kyle Murray. One of the first, so when we draft a Boras client, Boras always shows up when he takes BP and talks to the media for the first time. So we always get Boras, right? We just had Boras when we signed Fuji. Boras is great. So I was asking back then Boras about Matt Chapman's contract. And he went on this like 5-minute long journey of an answer where it was like, what the hell is he talking about? And he started talking about the game growing globally, the Pacific Rim, having teams in Asia, especially in Japan. And the whole time he's doing this answer, we're like, I just asked you about Matt Chapman. I don't know where you get, but now knowing Scott Boras and how brilliant he is, when I asked him that question, it triggered what we were seeing now. I mean, when you have the type of basically every single person in Japan was watching that at bat, and even versus Japan versus Italy, 50% of all televisions were watching it. I now understand what Boras is talking about. I don't know if it's in our lifetime, but it will happen. We'll have Major League Baseball teams, like the NFL will be in London. Major League Baseball will have somehow, some way, teams in Japan.
I think what you could see is divisions, right? Like I think travel is too tough. You couldn't have the Yankees traveling to Tokyo for a series and then back to, right?
Go over there and be there a while.
Right. Or you could have a division that's over there and they play each other and they're part of MLB, but then it's not till the playoffs they come over. So you actually have more of like an American League and a National League, right? Like you have the American League and then you have like the Japanese League and they get their winners come into the playoffs, then you have the travel, right? I think that could be possible. And one of the things that I think might lead to something like that, and this might seem random, but it's a random question from you, is the international draft. Because baseball wants an international draft. There is corruption down there. There are problems with the process right now. We have teams making agreements with like 12-year-olds. It's gross. And so, people talk about an international draft. Well, what's the problem with an international draft? One of the biggest ones is that you have to make agreements with every country that are different. So you can't just be like, it's an international draft and every Japanese high schooler is part of the international draft. Well, the NPB, Japan's league, is going to be like, no, like we're not part of it. Our kids aren't in it, But what? Okay, all right. So then you start to make these agreements with different countries. You have to start to figure out things with different countries. I don't know. That could lead to, or more WBC play could lead to like, hey, let's have some sort of mini playoffs between the MLB and NPB winners, where it's like the real World Series in a non-WBC year. We'll have the winner of the winner of the World Series play the winner of the NPB series.
I wonder if that is something that could get the owners to agree to cut the schedule down, play less,
add more of those playoffs. Yeah.
Well, you have your World Series, so it keeps all of the Bob Costas of the world happy with their historical statistics, which I think most younger people don't care about. Like, because look, football, they play more games now. Guys play more games.
Yeah, nobody has any idea what the old football records are.
No one cares, right? So if you play less games, get your playoffs done earlier, and then maybe late October. Because now we have beautiful dome stadiums, right? Texas is beautiful. Miami, you can play it in Houston. We got all these dome stadiums for weather. They play we play at the Tokyo Dome, for God's sakes, over there. You could have this true like World Series, and it's still early in the football season. You might get some major traction.
Yeah. I mean, we're a global environment. We're growing and growing, and baseball is going to expand. I think very soon into 2 new markets in America, and once that happens, on the list for the expansion is already Monterrey in Mexico, and Mexico City, and Montreal. So, as that sort of expansion happens again in, I don't know, 15, 20 years, like what next city are they going to put on? Is London going to be an opportunity? Or are they going to do something where they say, okay, we're going to buy the Japanese leagues or whatever? Do they have enough money to do that? But there's, sometimes we can't necessarily see exactly the future,
All righty, let's look into the future. Give me your one thing, the one thing. Whether it's a prediction, one thing you want to see. We're heading into this season. Eno Sarris 2023. What's the one big thing for you for the upcoming season?
Well, I'm going to stick. I want to stick with a bold prediction, and that's one that's going to go right into our conversation that we've just been having, which is, Mike Trout just struck out to his teammate, and that was on the biggest stage, and he spent all of his interviews afterwards saying the word fun, like literally. He said that was a ton of fun. That was incredibly fun. He said it was the funnest thing he'd done in a long time. So, he loved the playoff type atmosphere. The A's have gone to the playoffs once with him. It's the one mark on his career. Otherwise, it is a Hall of Fame career, but it's the one mark on his career. It's the last year with Shohei Ohtani. I think this is the year that Mike Trout hits 50 homers. He said, I need to do whatever I need to do to keep Shohei Ohtani here. So I think this is the year that Mike Trout maybe has a resurgence that gets him back on the MVP short list and hits 50 homers, career high in homers with like a 300 average, and just tries to put the Angels back on his shoulders to convince Shohei Ohtani to stay.
I was looking up Trout and Ohtani stuff because if you said anything recently negative about Trout or Ohtani, baseball now has its own version of cancel culture. People were coming after you on Twitter. So I was just looking some stuff up. It made me look at what Aaron Judge did last year. And if you look at what Aaron Judge did against teams 500 or better last year was amazing. He just didn't crush the bad guys. He crushed everybody. And that leads me to this. If Trout has what you're talking about, because you mix all the other stuff that he does, if Trout hits the 50-plus home run plateau, I mean, he had 44 last year in kind of a shortened year because of health. If he has 50-plus, 300 batting average plus, and you throw everything else in there, could be one of the greatest years we've ever seen.
Yeah. And they would have to go to the playoffs then, right? Because if he was that good and Ohtani was that good next to him, I mean, I know that the rest of the team isn't great, but that would be such an amazing sort of two-punch combo.
I want to quickly ask you this. I've been researching this because this whole thing that I'm a great player, team sucks, not my fault. We've been researching this. The great players, Trout's included, but I even went with Bonds, who is obviously his numbers are the craziest. And I went with a guy who literally might be the most consistent player, great number, Hall of Fame player in Stan Musial. Same amount of hits on the road, same amount of hits at home. I mean, Stan Musial's consistency is unbelievable. They all have one quality. They all have huge numbers in their team's wins, and they all regress mightily in their team's losses. And it made me think, maybe these great players, great players influence day-to-day baseball more than we think. Like when great players play well, their teams win.
Yeah.
I guess you're reference. It's interesting.
I would say that the split is probably true for most great players because they're great. Yeah, they're great. So the team wins when they're great. I would just say that split, I think Marcus Semien, he's the most consistent guy I can think of, and he has a split like that, so
it's dramatic. Like Bonds and Stan Musial, I'd have to check all the greats, but Bonds and Stan Musial, their numbers in team wins versus team losses, it's dramatically different. I was shocked by it. I thought they would just be consistent in whether wins or losses.
I would also probably say that homers are the big key there, because if you think about it, a homer, you homer. Well, if you homer in a game, you played well and you actually put crooked numbers right up on the board, right? And so then your team probably won. And then in the games you don't homer, it's much more likely that your team put a 0 up and lost, right? So
when are we having Eno next? We got to have him opening day, right?
Are you going to be at the Coliseum?
No, I'm not. I'm doing an opening day event in New York City.
Sandwich.
So I won't be live.
My apologies.
But what time is opening day for y'all?
No, take opening day off because we'll have everybody live from the field. We'll talk to you. When we talk to you next, we will actually have real games, real things, real joy, real pain, real injuries.
Real numbers.
It's going to get, as Jim Harbaugh once said, it's going to get real fast. Play the man his outro.
The Eno Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
And by the way, I know it's a big thing for you, your family, your career, to have the sandwich named after you. Congratulations once again.
Yes, my younger son calls me the sandwich man, so...
You got a beer and a sandwich. I mean, next thing you know, what is it? Buffet's going to be named after you?
That's right. Yeah, I got to call Fieldwork. Maybe we could do a beer together.
Oh, I love it. All right. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Have a great opening day on the East Coast.
All right. See you guys.
Eno Sarris, our man, our national baseball writer from The Athletic. Yes, he has a beer named after him. It's called the Sticky Stuff. I have a can of it somewhere. And then now he's going to have a sandwich named after him. Pretty cool. Coming up next, a World Series hero. And we preview the Astros right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Secure your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. From opening weekend against the Angels to the 50th reunion of the 1973 World Series team, to unique giveaways like Pit Viper glasses. There is so much happening at the ballpark this season. Don't miss out on other homestands as we take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, Cubs, and Braves. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Now through April 23rd, new customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet during our limited time Xfinity 10G network launch celebration for just $25 a month for 2 years. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
It's that time of the year again, A's fans. Opening day is almost here. Join us on Thursday, March 30th for the start of the season when your A's take on Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels.
And swung on and drilled left center field. Martinez going back at the track right to the wall, and he will watch it fly.
Get to the ballpark early and snag a 2023 A's Magnet schedule. So buy yours today at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Streaming from the town, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Are we ready to rock? Are we ready to bring the World Series hero, the pride of the University of California, one of the great alums in the history of that school, played in the College World Series? I don't know what this man hasn't done. He's one of the top television broadcasters in our game. The great Geoff Blum is with us here as we preview the Houston Astros, but we could talk anything with him. Blummer, how are you?
I'm doing much better after that intro, man. I got to put you on my PR staff.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, when you got it, flaunt it, right, as they say?
Yep, I can't argue with that, and I'm going to take it every time I can.
We have new gear sponsoring A's Cast and A's Cast Live. Have you heard of Linksole?
Hey, dude, Linksole is one of the more legit California-based, out of Oceanside golf apparel companies. I that's one of the first things I noticed when you hopped on is that you had the Linksole. And I don't know if you've watched a lot of PGA, but Sahith Theegala out of Chino Hills is repping their stuff when he's going out there and playing. But yeah, I love Linksole. They've got great stuff.
So we now, for every show, the commander and I will have Link Soul on the field here in the studios. We have the spring collection going right now that we'll be showing everybody, and then will be the summer collection. But yeah, Link Soul and the Oakland A's and the Oakland A's Radio Network sponsorship throughout 2023. I knew somebody of your high quality would be able to tell our fans. I'm like, it's like what I'm wearing right now. I can go to dinner. I can play golf. Hell, I could go to the beach. You name it. Their stuff is so legit. It's unbelievable.
Well, isn't that the key? It's to tell your wife that you're going to play golf and that you're still looking good enough to go on that date night or out with the family, and you can transition nicely. So you guys are smart with hooking up with them.
So this is the interview. We've all kind of like crossed our fingers and said, this is the interview Blummer says it all falls apart, that this whole dynasty, it finally crumbles. Things are just, it's not working out. This is not the Astros year. Is this finally the time?
I mean, maybe for the first month and a half, 2 months, maybe you can argue that a little bit because, you're going to have, I know you're kind of hinting at the Altuve situation with the WBC, breaking the thumb, having surgery, coming back and rehabilitating that and getting that swing back is going to be a little bit longer than maybe we expect. Michael Brantley was scheduled to be ready opening day, but had some issues off the field that he had to take care of. So it kind of pushed his start back a little bit. Yordan Alvarez just started hitting. Can he be ready on opening day? And then you've got Lance McCullers Jr. When's he going to be able to come back? So yeah, if you're going to look at this and maybe say there's an opportunity to kind of take advantage of the Astros, I wouldn't say knock them off that AL West throne, but I would say if there's an opportunity to take advantage of the Astros early on, this, April, May might be those months where you can, if you can, jump out to a little bit of an early lead and try and take advantage of them not being at full strength, because they are going to open the season with some key pieces on the shelf.
What is the difference in the team right now without Justin Verlander?
You know what? I'm not too sure that there is much of a change, but other than the fact, and this is what's interesting, because when the Astros were developing this run that they were on, they knew that they drafted well. They knew that they developed well and got some key young pieces in the big leagues. They went out and picked up some waiver wires, some free agent guys that were kind of on the fringe and made them better. But they were really lacking that veteran leadership. So you go out and get a Charlie Morton back in 2016-17. You add the Justin Verlander, and all of a sudden you've got that ace at the top of your rotation who can take all the media fire, can be expected to go out against a tough opponent and keep you in the game and pitch well enough to win. And now you're starting to watch some of these guys who are pitching under that kind of develop a little bit, and hopefully they can start to take the reins and become maybe that next Justin Verlander or that next Zach Greinke, because you're going to see Framber Valdez a year removed from the year that he had. He's getting smarter. He's getting better. He's getting more experienced. Christian Javier is kind of the wild card right now because we saw him make such a progression in 2022. Can he move into that 2-3 spot in a rotation? Luis Garcia seems to have adjusted his delivery, not rocking the baby because of the Manfred rules that are being implemented. Can he make the next step? So I think these guys are kind of in a position where they would have been better with Justin Verlander, but I think they'll be all right because these guys have another year of experience in being around guys like that maybe they can start to take this bull by the horns on their own and see what they can do.
Well, you let Verlander walk, but you bring in Jose Abreu. You're talking about bringing in a veteran guy. How's he fit in? Obviously, another great Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go get a nice White Sox to complement your team, you should be all right. But Jose Abreu is one of those guys like Michael Brantley for me. When you saw the Indians come in or you went into Cleveland and Michael Brantley was in the middle part of the order, you're going, oh, no, this guy's up again with runners on, and he would drive 2 runs in. And at the end of the year, you'd see a 280 to 300 batting average, and that's exactly what Michael Brantley's been, if not better, as an Astro. And I think that's kind of the hopes with Jose Abreu, because as well as I do, being in the American League and watching Jose Abreu come over and show how good of a hitter he is, not just overall, but with guys in scoring position. He's a career 300 RISP guy. And that's what kind of turns me on in this organization, is that he'll be in a lineup. He'll be in the middle part, and he'll have guys that are high on base percentage guys, and he'll get his opportunities. But the one thing that I didn't know about Jose Abreu is is the sheer size of the man himself, but also the work ethic. Rumor has it that this guy's in at dawn in the weight room, getting it on, has a nice routine developed, gets in the cage, works extremely hard, and then it translates onto the field. So this guy fits right in with the mantra. And I think all the interviews that you saw him do in the offseason when he signed so early with the Houston Astros, maybe not testing that market a little bit, he just said the most important thing he said to me was, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to win. And this is where he felt he was going to be able to do that. So it's a nice transition from Yuli Gurriel to Jose Abreu. He should be a nice fit.
Yeah, I mean, you go somewhere to win. I mean, no one's been better than the Astros. I mean, it is what it is. And, you know, when you think about every single year, a team gets a chance to defend their title. And we haven't seen since the late 90s, the Yankees, the Toronto Blue Jays, and their run in the early 90s. Why is it? Why is it so tough? You have that magic, you win the championship, you're basically back at it 4.5 months later. It's not like you take years off. What happens? Why do you lose the mojo so fast? Why haven't we had a repeat champion?
I don't, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of factors of that, but I'm as fascinated about it as you are. And it's even more interesting sitting in this seat on a daily basis and watching what they're able to go out there and do. And I think in order for organizations to go out there and repeat, you've got to be able to find a way to create a culture of winning where everybody in there feels that they're on the same page, pushing in the same direction, cheering each other on. There's no animosity, and you kind of have that single-minded goal in mind. And a lot of that comes from leadership. You know, AJ Hinch did a good job of establishing it. Dusty Baker's done a better job of continuing that momentum. But you also need guys in that clubhouse who really have a thirst for winning no matter the situation. And that's what I find most interesting about what is happening here in Houston is the fact that you've got guys like Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve. Some of these other young guys are kind of latching onto the idea. You know, a Kyle Tucker is a guy that jumps to my mind is when you talk to these guys and you're around the A's as much as I'm around the Astros, and you start talking to these guys, you want to get in their head a little bit and try and understand, because I'm fascinated by their ability to bounce back, like you're saying, after a 3-4 month off season and get ready to go again. But as soon as that parade was over, you know, talking to a guy like Alex Bregman, for whatever reason, there's a gear inside this guy that says, that was great. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it, but I'm not done yet. And I don't know how you instill that in guys, but he wanted to flat out turn around and get into spring training immediately. And it's almost as if he wanted to continue that momentum that they had at the end of the season and just see if they can continue to go with it, because we both know that these windows, they're so tight, so small, and it's so hard. And I think the reason it is hard, and we haven't seen that repeat champion, is the fact that loyalty is just not there anymore. You're chasing money, you're chasing contracts, there's trades, there's analytics that are telling you that this guy shouldn't be here or this guy should be here. And I think that's where you kind of run into the issue, is that turnover in the roster sometimes creates a little more of a shockwave that doesn't allow you to go out there and continue to perpetuate that winning mentality.
If I said, let's look at the core of the Astros, because, you know, there's going to be players that we don't know about for each team. They're going to get called up. They're going to play a role in how teams do, right? But if we say the core, is there anybody's core in the American League right now better than the Houston Astros?
Man, it would take a lot of digging to be able to do that, because, you know, out in the West, I think you're seeing the Seattle Mariners and Angels trying to put themselves in a good position. I know the Angels just don't have the pitching to be able to do it, because your core, if you think about it, is going to be Shohei Ohtani to Mike Trout in center, and hopefully they can get a healthy Anthony Rendon for a season and see what that offense can actually do. And then you add Ward to that mix, and maybe all of a sudden you get that surprise guy that you're talking about that can kind of overachieve and boost that lineup a little bit. But for Seattle, I think having Julio Rodriguez out there, the pitching staff that they have with Gilbert on that mound, some of these young guys coming up, Cal Raleigh's kind of stepped up. So that's where I kind of focus a little bit, obviously, on the AL West. But I think that those guys might be the most competitive as far as the Seattle Mariners, of having that continuity and maybe having those core guys that are going to stick around a little bit and provide you the opportunity to maybe try and quench that thirst of going out there and winning, because they've done a good job with Luis Castillo signing some of these guys to complement who they have internally.
Yeah, because I think nobody in the Central And then
Central's crazy, isn't it? I don't even look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Central, not as much as I love Terry Francona, friend of the program, and I love how they pitch and they actually hit for batting average and they play old school. I appreciate that. And then in the East, the Astros own the Yankees. I mean, they have taken their lunch money now for so many years. Rays are always tough. You never know. We'll see. A lot of people are talking about how good Toronto could be this year, but that's what I'm saying. If you look at the core of all the winning and all the 6 years of going to the ALCS and 2 World Series titles and playing in 4 World Series and all the success, and as you mentioned earlier, the younger guys are contributing and they're coming up, and I don't know if you can say just core-wise, I don't think you can say there's a better core than the Houston Astros in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel comfortable saying that because I'm around these guys and get a chance to broadcast with them. But there were some serious questions over the years when you lose, like we already talked about, a Justin Verlander, a Zach Greinke, a Garrett Cole. I mean, these are bona fide superstar Cy Young MVP candidates. Yeah, Hall of Fame guys. And then you go out to, George Springer in center field leaves and they find a way to compensate for that. And all of a sudden, a guy like Yordan Alvarez shows up to fit right in the middle of that batting order with the Bregmans, the Altuves, the Brantleys, and guys like that. And then all of a sudden last year, they say goodbye to Carlos Correa and wish him well. And all of a sudden, this dude, Jeremy Pena, shows up and has a little bit of a roller coaster ride throughout the course of the season, makes a minor adjustment in his swing in September, and all of a sudden this guy's a juggernaut and he's carrying him through the championship series and the World Series. So it's amazing how they've been able to develop and get those guys in there and be able to take that calculated risk losing potential Hall of Famers and superstars like that. It's unreal.
Well, that's why we've mentioned on this show, and as much as painful as it is, the Astros have been the model. All these people, it's like the Rangers are the exact opposite. They're just throwing money at all their problems. And that's why I try and tell fans, because we haven't won the World Series since '89, but I go, look how many times we've been to the playoffs and we don't overpay for guys. We don't do it. And fans hate when I say that. But look at the Astros model, as you mentioned, Verlander, Cole, Greinke, Springer, Correa. If you outprice yourself, they say, thank you, we appreciate it, and we'll replace you. It's a great way to do business. What the Astros are doing, they are the business model that is working the best in our sport.
Yeah, and you can hate them as much as you want. You can complain about things that happened in the past and all of those things. I get it. Hate them as much as you want, but there is a part of you or us as prognosticators, as media members, where you have to look at some of these organizations that have success and go, damn, I can't stand that they keep winning, but they have actually done it pretty well. And they did develop a model between Jeff Luhnow, and I'm sure now Dana Brown's going to be able to kind of continue that success here with his ideas that he's bringing over from the Atlanta Braves. But to your point, the fact that they have a high payroll, but they've been able to hover around that CBT threshold and not get too over it every once in a while, able to come back down below it and still kind of rest just below it and continue to go out there and win is really a credit to what the baseball ops have been able to do. It's a credit to the way Dusty Baker, Josh Miller, the pitching coach, all the hitting coaches that they have, and just developing this talent from the minor leagues into the big leagues to just get on board, continue to fight, grind, play. But you're right, because I've never seen, we've seen good drafts, but we haven't seen consistently good drafting like we did in the, 2012, 13, 14, 15 for the Astros when they were losing 100, and developing those guys, knowing when to get them to the big leagues, and just adding some of those pieces to them at a right price. They've been very business oriented in going out and do that. And they've taken a lot of emotion out of it. Like you said, sometimes you get emotional and go, that's my guy, take all my money and let's see what happens.
All right, let's end on this. I'm sure there's been things you've been reading, you've been getting ready for. What's like the one thing that you want to play out, you want to see the most? What's the one thing in baseball you're most curious about? Everybody has that one thing. What is it for you?
I mean, I don't want to just belabor the clock thing. I'm still curious about this thing. I want to know what it looks like in a regular season with regular 26-man rosters and managers managing their guys. I still think that that's going to be very interesting to me. I'm a little annoyed at the shift, just if you want to know. But the thing that I want to know or want to see is I want to see this balanced schedule. I love the fact that we've gone to this universal DH. I know it's going to be a little more homogenized as far as rules. But the fact that we get to go into some of these different cities and put on a show with a Mike Trout going into, Pittsburgh or, some of these places and being able to put him on display, I think is going to be a lot of fun. And I also think it's a lot of fun that we are getting out of the American League West. I don't know how you feel about it, but
Mariners. It's like we play the Mariners every game. Oh my God.
Doesn't it feel that way? I mean, the 19 games per team it's too much.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you don't have to see Trout as much. God.
No, I'm with you on that. And for whatever reason, the A's play their ass off against the Astros. And I've got to sit there and go, man, I don't know how to explain this other than the fact that they're just beating up on the Astros.
Doesn't it seem like we don't play each other as much? It seems like it's like two different times in 12 and 19. We went and played in Japan. We played against the Mariners. We came home opening day against the Mariners. It's like every other game we had to face King Felix. It's like there's certain organization. It's like, I'm tired of seeing these guys. It's just, I'm with you. Some new blood will be nice.
Yeah, and maybe find that team out there that you do play well against, or maybe instead of, facing the Astros in extra time for the Oakland A's, maybe you get to go out there and face, the Pittsburgh Pirates every once in a while, or maybe face the Miami Marlins, who are going to be tough but beatable. Maybe expand it a little bit and see what you can go out there and do. Maybe rack up a couple more wins or experience against some of these teams. And obviously, for me, traveling with the team, it's selfishly, I want to go to some different stadiums and check out some of these ballparks again.
I know. I keep bringing up Seattle. I mean, I don't need to go to the Fairmont again and eat at Shuckers. I've done that.
Right? I've had enough. I've had all the crab cakes and everything, or everything.
I'm ready to move on. Give me some more. Yeah. Give me more South Beach. I can always do a little more South Beach. All right,
that's
buddy.
what I'm talking about.
We always appreciate it. Can't wait to see you up here in Oakland. You know how everybody loves you up here in the Bay. And be well. And I don't know when we play. When do we play?
We've got you.
It's until like May.
May. Yeah.
And hopefully you guys are in last place. You're like 10 games under 500. There it is. May 26. So maybe you're right. Maybe these first 2 months, we need to all get our licks in.
There we go. Hey, Townie, you ready for this? So when I see you next in person, I will have had all of my triplets graduate on that Wednesday. So by the time I show up to Oakland on that weekend, I will have four girls in college.
You're an empty nester?
Dude, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, this is my last summer with kids or with high school students. Yeah, this is madness. I know your kids are growing up quick, dude. Be ready.
Mine are juniors. Well, for people who don't know, when you had your triplet playing for the Padres, that was a big deal. Like it was like national news. A Major League Baseball player has triplets. How is this going to work? How's this guy going to sleep? I mean, it was a big deal when they were born, and they're going to go to college? Oh, my.
Yeah, it happens fast, Townie. You know that. I mean, having kids in high school it's chaos as it is. And then all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, wait, graduation? Yeah, it's I don't know if I'm ready for it, to be honest with you, but it's going to be good.
I can say this. Like, with all the stuff going on, like, right now, everything for my kids is about college and where they're going to go and where everybody's getting into right now.
Right.
I don't think I've ever looked more forward to a baseball season than this year. So I can parachute out of this world and just get into my own world and be like, I'm so overhearing about my wife's friends, kids, college, I'm ready to get back into our little bubble of baseball and just leave me alone.
The competition between who's going where and who's getting accepted to what is crazy. But how about the application process, man? It's insane.
Did you know that UCLA is the most applied to college in the country, and they get over 300,000 applicants?
Dear God, I didn't know that. It's understandable, but I didn't realize it was that high.
UC Santa Barbara, of course, your alma mater, Berkeley.
There's a lot of smart kids out there.
Getting into the UC system is really, really hard. And then they talk about, hey, there's no guarantee to get into San Jose State or San Diego State. There's no guarantee.
That's amazing to me. Somebody said that the other day about San Diego State being tough academically, and I about went, what? next thing you know, you're going to tell me Chico State's tough to get into?
No offense to all the graduates of the Aztecs and Chico State, but yeah.
No, not at all. But I mean, we all knew that going there there was some fringe benefits to going to those schools.
I literally grew up 2 minutes from San Diego State. And when I was growing up, the big news was that they were the number 1 or number 2 party school in Playboy magazine. It was a safety school.
Those were the days.
Schools. No one was talking about, I'm going to San Diego State to get a great education. Right?
Yep. Times are changing.
Like if they said Berkeley, San Diego State, they weren't even in the same conversation.
Oh,
it's crazy. All right, my man. We'll see you in May. You be well.
You too. Appreciate being on with you guys as always. Always would love being on with you, Townie. Thank you, man.
Take care, buddy. The great Geoff Blum, the World Series hero. You got a statue in Major League Baseball? That's what I want to know. Does Cody, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I don't have.
You don't have a statue?
No.
I was going to ask him, is that the number one thing you look at every year is when the Astros play the White Sox, you can go see your statue?
I wonder what him and Jose Abreu can share so many great stories about the South Side, not the North Side, not the East or West.
He has a statue. It's a statue. It's a World Series statue, and he's a prominent figure on the statue. Like, do you not like? I don't know what that would ever be like, but can you imagine when you go there, you look out and your statue is there?
I'm more surprised that San Jose State has not renamed Muni Excite Ballpark, Chris Townsend Field at Excite Ballpark.
Is that what San Jose Muni's called?
Yeah, Excite. Well, it's because of the San Jose Giants.
But I'm being serious. You go to a ballpark and you got a statue. You don't stick that chest out a little bit higher when you got a statue. He'll be dead and gone, and he'll have a statue there. His grandkids and his great grandkids will be able to see his statue.
I mean, the best I got is my name's on a wall on a plaque at my college. It's about as far as it goes. Now that school's not even called the same anymore. So,
yeah, right.
I'm good. I was a little.
What's it called now?
It used to be called California University of Pennsylvania.
My kids yesterday were busting my chops about you because Cody's in there rambling about his steps and all the steps. And
I got to my million. If I wish I had $1 million, I got to my 1,000,000-step goal. So before the season even got even close to starting.
And then you were talking about how your schools changed names and all this kind of stuff. And like, Dad, you weren't even paying attention because I don't know what I was doing. I'm like, you don't think I've heard about the step challenge? You don't think I heard about it down in spring training in January? Oh yeah.
Penn West University now. They combined 3 schools, and my school is the main campus.
I think that was a good move because I thought University of California, Pennsylvania was odd.
California University of Pennsylvania.
Whatever. It was odd.
Yeah, there's Indiana University of Pennsylvania as well. It's our big rival.
It just doesn't seem right.
That's
now,
fair.
Penn West. No, what are they called?
Penn West University. I just actually got asked to
So
speak
they're
there.
all Penn West?
Penn
West 1, 2, and 3?
No, it's just called Penn West University. They merged.
Are you part of the? Because Penn State,
no,
which is in Happy Valley in the middle of Pennsylvania,
Central Valley. Yeah.
But there's multiple Penn States, right?
Yeah, there's satellite campuses. Yeah,
San Diego State, San Jose State,
no,
Cal State, East Bay. I'll call it Hayward. San Francisco State, Sac State. They have the California State school system.
Yeah,
or the UC system. They have that.
Fresno State, Chico State.
We don't talk about Fresno State.
Humboldt State.
It's not a real school.
No, my school is all part of.
I said it.
They're all part of the PSAC conference, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. But they merged 3. It was like my school, Clarion University, where Kurt Angle went, the Olympian Kurt Angle, and I forget what other school they merged. But now the main campus is mine. So,
hey, according to the USA Today, I'm looking at all the predictions, and I'm just going down the line here. I don't see anybody ranked as high as the Astros at 98 wins.
That's before the Altuve injury. It's pretty good. Yeah. They'll plug someone in like David Hensley or something, and
They won
second base.
106 last year, right?
Yeah.
106. I'm just, as much as I hate them,
I found
it is what it is. They are not. We are not yet in a time when all of a sudden they're falling off the cliff. They're not. They're just not. They got too many. And this Hunter Brown kid works out. Oh my god.
Apparently he's having some arm fatigue.
Oh, guy throws really hard, is having arm problems. That's a shocker.
Well, Kyle Tucker's not healthy. Jordan Alvarez is sporadically playing. They'll be fine. By the way, before we get to Jed Lowrie, Mike Selleck, from our PR baseball information, here's what he has about Kyle Muller. Kyle Muller was named the Oakland A's opening day starter today.
Wait, am I going to want to hear this?
It's interesting. There's actually guys that had less career starts than he did.
At opening day for the A's?
Yeah. He has 11 career starts, and the only opening day pitchers in Oakland history with fewer career starts are Sonny Gray, Carlos Reyes, and Vida Blue, who all had 10 career starts.
Okay. I get it. Paul Blackburn was supposed to be the guy. He's not the guy. You don't want Fuji leading off, even though you got a Fuji Otani, which would be amazing. I get it. I mean, difference is, at least for two of those guys, Vida Blue was heralded as the next great, and so was Sonny Gray.
Wasn't the year Vida won the MVP? 71?
71, Vida was Cy Young and MVP. Yeah.
Pretty good year. A's were in the playoffs in 2014.
Yeah.
Don't think they made it in 1996.
I mean, Sonny Gray was expected to be your great pitcher for years. And Kyle Muller, I'm hoping, is that guy. We're kind of we're expecting big things from him.
I think I have it. I can tell you he was in the opening day lineup when Carlos Reyes started in 1996. 1996, here we go. Catcher, Harry Steinbach. First base, Jason Giambi. Torey Lovello was the starting third baseman that day.
Call Torey. Get him on.
I mean, and then you look, and I'm not going to go back to 71, but
no, I don't want to go back.
But yeah, Kyle Muller.
I mean, we need him to be the next dude. We need him, Waldachuk. I'd like Sears to be that gutsy guy. These guys got to work out. I mean, you traded big time players for these guys. They got to work out. You just can't trade all your players and then get nothing in return. That's no bueno. So when you trade Matt Olson, when you trade Sean Murphy, when you trade Matt Chapman, which we're still waiting to see, maybe Kevin Smith actually does some stuff this year.
2 more RBIs yesterday. He is 14 right now in spring.
So it's like
he's hot.
You got to get. You talk about a guy who's carried it over. He's carried over that last month into this spring, no question. He's going to be on the team. He has to be.
I hope so.
If you want to win games, you got to have a hot hand on your thing.
I think he's hitting I think I have a 385 in spring right now.
You got to ride the hot hand.
Kevin Smith, 385, 2 home runs, 14 runs batted in, a 1,082 OPS.
Once again, and was Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds in the last month of AAA. He has found something. I don't know how you not ride it. Coming up, but I'm not saying I'm depressed that it's just, I look at it and go, all the scenarios, and he's the guy. But then again, years from now, we could be laughing going, of course he's the opening day starter. He's 6'7", he's left-handed, he's nasty, he's got everything we may be talking to him on Monday. Let's say he goes out and deals on Thursday opening day. We could be talking to him on Monday. He's confident. He's got ultimate belief. We talked to him down at spring training. He is set, and I loved it. I love what he said at spring training. When he goes, I'm done being in the minor leagues. I'm a big league pitcher. Well, now you're the opening day starter. Seize the opportunity. And over and under 6 innings for Shohei Ohtani. I didn't even get it out.
Under.
Well, 5 2/3.
Still under.
5 1/3.
Still under 6.
5.
Oh, I'm still saying they're all under 6. I think it's going to be like 5 1/3.
It's going to come down to the bullies. And see, that's the other thing, too. That gets back to my whole thing of, what really does the opening day starter mean when guys are only going 5 innings anyway?
Yeah, I was going to say under 5 from
Death of the start. I'm going to write a book. Death of the starting pitcher.
Like death of a salesman, but death of the starting pitcher.
By the way, your guy Eno Sarris just put out 10 MLB bold predictions for the 2023 season. Mike Trout's is number 1, as he said to us. The Padres will have the best rotation baseball this year.
Who's starting opening day for them? Take a guess. It's your guy.
It's not going to be you, Darvish, huh?
That's your guy you love. Mr. I can't get through 6 innings.
Oh, Blake Snell?
Blake Snell, opening day starter.
Something
about Ryan McMahon.
Orioles.
The Orioles will make the playoffs. That's bold. Everyone says they're going to finish under 500.
O'Neal Cruz.
There you go. Apparently, Pirates they're trying to re-sign Reynolds right now.
Corey Seager wins the AL MVP. I bet against that.
Yeah, that's.
He's going to get exposed defensively. All right, coming up next, he's retiring. What a career! What an A. Jed Lowrie will join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Unbeatable mileage from Chevron with Techron unlocks all kinds of unbeatable trips. Like to family dinner the next town over. Or to a family wedding the next town over. Or even to a family reunion over the river and through the woods at Grandma's house. Any drive is worth it to see Grandma. Especially when you can stop along the way for unbeatable cleaning power from Chevron with Techron. Your engine will be thanking you for making the trip. Download the Chevron app now and find unbeatable mileage near you.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
This is Chris Townsend. There are 2 things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Now through April 23rd, new customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet during our limited time Xfinity 10G network launch celebration for just $25 a month for 2 years. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A's /AceCast. That's athletics.com/AceCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/AceCast today.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right. We had an opportunity earlier today to talk with Jed Lowrie. Loved watching him play. Loved covering him. Great guy. Great A. And just listen to some things. Because there's one thing in particular that he is going to say where he talks about when some young guys were coming up. It's very subtle, but I think it says a lot. There's a lot of interesting things that he has to say. Here is our conversation with now retired Jed Lowrie, hopefully, who will be in the A's family for a long, long time. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, as we said it yesterday, we'll say it again today. He was an outstanding Oakland Athletic, no question about it. He was great to us all these years on A's Cast. He will always be a fan favorite, and now he's calling it quits after 14 years. What an amazing career. Jed Lowrie is with us here. Jed, I got to tell you, congratulations. I don't know if you thought back in those days at Stanford you'd have such a long career, but when you think about it, playing till 38 years old, man, that's really special.
Yeah, I mean, I always dreamed of it. I always planned on it, but you know, in terms of how I went about my business, but you know, you just never know how something like that's gonna play out. The odds are against everybody who ever picks up a bat, you know, to do what I was able to do.
Yeah, no question. I mean, obviously, everybody thinks they're going to have a long career, but it just doesn't always work out like that. And when I think about the Bay Area and how special it is to you and your wife, you both went to Stanford. You met her at Stanford. Your best years as a big leaguer, obviously 3 different times you came back and played for the Oakland Athletics. Just talk about what the Bay Area has meant to you in your life.
Yeah, I mean, very, very influential, formative years there. And, you know, it was, it's a place that we will frequent, you know, to come back and you know, go to reunions and see friends. And so, yeah, the Bay Area will always be a big part of our lives.
What was it about Oakland that when you put those white cleats on, that everything just played out just the way you wanted to, because you had some monster years with the A's?
Yeah, you know, I've said this a lot, but I think Bob Melvin did a really good job of, you know, of allowing, you know, players to be themselves, but also, you know, demanding a lot from them. And that's a hard balance to strike. And, you know, I think that's why he's had so much success in his career as a manager. So yeah, it's, you know, I think the freedom to kind of, you know, be myself, and I had the trust of the organization and of Bob to, you know, go about my business, because they knew that I was going to show up and perform every night.
You know, I remember back in 2013, we did your first interview. It was funny. It was in that old tin can because the wind was so bad. It was the Raiders ticket booth. And to think that, you know, you leave, you come back. You leave, you come back again. What was that like? You know, there's 30 teams. What was it like? You keep coming back to the A's.
Yeah, I mean, I think my profile fit really well with the A's and what they looked for in players. And you know, I had, like I said, I had success, and it felt like a place that I could be myself, and they were always able to get the most out of me.
You know, something that we don't always talk about with a lot of people, but it's basically being that mentor, being that veteran guy. You know, everybody thinks about what a veteran guy can do for people as a player from a standpoint of in between the lines, but there's a lot of stuff that happens for players, especially young players, outside the lines that I know you've helped a lot of players along the way. What did that mean to you to be that leadership guy? I know Bob Melvin would talk to us about you and being that. What did that mean to you that you helped a lot of players, not only on the field, but you help them with stuff off the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when you spend as much time with the teammates that you do during a baseball season. You're gonna find ways. It's in order to get the most out of everybody and get where you want to be as a team. You have to invest fully in the guys, and so that everybody has something going on at home, or just there's more than just baseball. And so I think, there's times where you have to, sometimes baseball is an escape from all that. And, sometimes it's just impossible not to bring some of that to the field. And so I always tried to help guys put things in perspective to try to get them, let them get the most out of themselves.
When I think about your multiple runs with the A's, you had multiple runs, kind of different eras, different teams where you made the playoffs. Is there one team that you look back on that will be the most fondest memories of the playoffs and competing and winning with the A's?
That's a tough one. Each individual group is going to be different. You guys like, Brandon Moss and Josh Reddick and Coco, those guys are, all guys that I really enjoyed, but they were, a little bit more veterans, so we kind of had an identity, and it was a little smoother. I think if I had to pick, I would say, coming up with like the Ole, Chapman, Pinder, like where I probably had, more influence, Simeon, where I had more influence and, hopefully impact as that veteran player, and you got these three young guns coming up, thinking pretty high of themselves, pretty vocal right away. I was a little skeptical at first, but they ended up being, some of my favorite teammates of all time. So if I had to pick, I would have said that group with, the Ole, the Chapman, the Pinders, and the Simeons. I'm
glad you picked that year, because I'm looking at it, 2018, you're 34 years old. You make the All-Star team. You 23 home runs, 99 RBIs, 37 doubles, and 801 OPS. Yeah, you had these young guns coming up, but Bob Melvin relied on you right there in the middle of the order. I really look at that year. You stayed healthy. You were super productive. And my gosh, you made the All-Star team.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of bumps along the way, having to come back from injury, and so getting that opportunity to represent the A's at the All-Star game was a special moment for me, and me being able to share that with my family.
We talk about hitting doubles. I know we did this with you in the past. There's an art form to hitting a lot of doubles. There's something about being able to sniff it. There's understanding outfielders' arms. There's understanding the outfield walls. There's a lot that goes in to getting a lot of doubles. And obviously you had some monster years, including the all-time record 49 in one season for the Oakland Athletics. You think Reggie Jackson, Ricky Henderson, Hall of Fame players, great players, Jason Giambi, Jose Canseco. You have that record. You have another year at 45. Just talk to us. There is an art about getting a lot of doubles. Tell us what's that like and what was the mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is that you're not strong enough to hit homers consistently, or not fast enough to hit triples.
Wow, yeah, but there were a couple of years you actually do that triples.
That was my attempt at deadpan. Tony, you were supposed to laugh at that.
I was like, is he serious?
But no, I think there is, I think there is, a little bit of seriousness in that, right? Where like I had power, but the Coliseum isn't always the friendliest for fly balls. And I certainly wasn't stick around in the game because of my speed. But I hit a lot of line drives. I had a lot of backspin line drives in the gaps and in the corners. And I had a nose for second. I was always looking for the double.
You and your wife have done a lot. Once again, we start talking about off the field. Do you have plans to carry on? What are the plans that you guys still to help people while still using the baseball platform?
Yeah, no, I definitely we will continue a lot of the work that we've started. I think most importantly is just trying to continue to promote participation in the game. I think that's a huge thing in the health and longevity of the game of baseball. I'd love to stay involved at a high level as well. I love thinking about the game and where the game is and how it can get better. And so hopefully I get an opportunity to continue to help the game evolve and grow.
I don't know if you've had this conversation. We're going to actually ask David Force this on the David Force Show, but I see a role. I mean, you got your kids. You want to see your kids grow. You've earned that right. But I would love to see somehow Jed Lowrie still around, special assistant, get you in uniform for spring training, because, the knowledge that you have, especially hitting, to help younger players, even players at the big league level. I know you're not going to jump into a full-time job, but could you see yourself, and have you talked to potentially the A's about some type of a deal where you come back and you're with the organization?
I have not talked to them about that. That doesn't mean I wouldn't have a level interest in doing something like that. I think there's a lot of possibilities for me moving forward, and I just need to figure out what that is. But I would also, like I said, love to stay involved in the game. I do feel like I've gained a lot of institutional knowledge, and I have some. I think that I can help guys continue to perform at their best.
Let's end on this. What are the plans now? You retire. I know you're building a gym at the house, so you're gonna get you're gonna get yoked. Is it golf? Is it I know you guys in the past have loved to travel. What's Jed gonna do now that he's retired?
Yeah, no, I think golf is something that I'll continue to try to improve at. And it's a great game for me to just get out and kind of decompress after all these years of playing. As someone as one of my teammates just texted me yesterday, baseball years are like dog years. So there's a little decompression that probably needs to happen, but I'll definitely stay involved. Continue to have conversations with people throughout the game at different levels, and find a way to contribute, hopefully at very high levels of the game, and then find ways to contribute locally as well.
Well, I got to say that, your time in Oakland, obviously very special for all of us. And, I'll put it this way. When there were a lot of knuckleheads in the clubhouse, you were the adult in the room. was a good way to put it.
I've always been an old soul, so I'm not offended by that.
Well, it meant a lot to us, and you were always so good to us, A's Cast, and then of course when we were at the Old Sports radio station, a true pro. We followed you from Stanford. Your great time at Stanford as a All-American, All Pac-10 guy. and then to come here and do what you did, and everybody's going to remember you as a great A. So I just personally want to thank you, everything you always did for us. I really appreciate it. I loved watching you play. I loved covering you, and nothing but the best to you and your family. And I'm going to talk to David Forrest. I'm going to try and make this thing happen. We want to see you, or we don't want you to go away. We still want you to be a part of the A's family.
I appreciate that, Tony. I appreciate all the kind words as well.
Jed Lowrie, terrific A. And yeah, he's somebody that we should bring back, especially since he has just retired. And he has spent a lot of time with the players, even though he's older. He understands these guys. And I'd love to see him at spring training in Uni.
Yeah, I was going to say, we mentioned that yesterday. Him, Dave Stewart. I mean, you're learning from, A's legends. But having Jed there teaching guys and playing with guys, teaching campers the art of the double would be great.
That's I'm talking about training. I'm talking about I'm not talking fantasy camp.
You mean spring training?
But spring training.
Oh, yeah.
But fantasy camp, yeah. You want to do that? I mean, that'd be great too.
Yeah, I think having him come for spring training is like an instructor, like where Bob Melvin used to have Randy Johnson come. If you can get Jed Lowrie to come, or
because he can do it all, right? Because he understands the analytics. He understands the approach that this organization's been using. He was just here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he's a wealth of knowledge. Smart guy. He is a really, really smart guy. The one thing I want you to pick up on was when he talked about, these guys were coming up and they were young, and he was talking about Ole and Semien and Chapman. Ole and Semien didn't speak. They hardly talked. It's all Matt Chapman. You kind of heard it there subtly, like, I wasn't so sure about this. He's talking about Matt Chapman. That's where I tell everybody, I love Matt Chapman. I loved him, right? But he was an acquired taste. He was a leader, but yet he was a leader that rubbed a lot of people wrong. It's odd, right? Usually the leader is just like, everybody loves the guy, and that's not totally the case. And that's all around the organization. You just heard Jed there say, these guys are coming up, and I wasn't so sure it was going to work. Yeah, well, there's one person he was talking about, because Jed was the adult in the room. Like I said, a lot of knuckleheads. Jed was the adult. So even though Jed wasn't the vocal rah, rah, rah leader, Jed was a leader. Everybody respected him. He had a presence. People went to him. You need guys like that. You got to have people. I mean, I don't want to keep repeating the adult in the room, but you got to have that. You need really a couple of them, right? Where, yes, Mero Petit was a guy like that. We've been around for so long, especially for the Latin players. You've got to have guys that have that street cred. That's what I'm looking for. Like you, Cody. People go to Cody. Why? Because he's got that cred.
Yeah, I'm street smart.
And now he's dripping in his Link Soul.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for that. Thank you, Link Soul.
You like the dripping?
Yeah. I didn't think that was in your vocabulary, but apparently it is.
Oh, you didn't think dripping? I'm dripping right now in my Link Soul. I mean, I'm going to dinner in this tonight. I could play 18. It's a sweatshirt. It's a hoodie. I could be at the A's game. I could be going down to the beach, happy hour. I could do anything in this. I feel like Superman.
I'll be doing all what you just mentioned tonight.
Yeah, you'll be on the beach. Show me your Link Soul.
Happy hour with this on and at the beach.
The official clother of A's Cast and A's Cast Live. Go to linksoul.com. All right, that's going to do it for us. Next time we see you is when?
Monday at 4 o'clock. We'll have Sarah Langs, Johnny D, and George Contos.
Are we on the field?
No. The game's at Oracle.
Oh, Sunday pregame. What time?
The game's at 1, so you'll be on at like 12:30-ish.
I'll see you at 12:30 on 12:30-ish on Sunday. We'll just be on radio, right? And A's Cast.
Yeah.
And on Bloomberg, 960.
Yes. I think the game's on TV. I don't know.
All right. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday for pregame. A's coming up next right here on A's Cast. Thank you for listening to A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Link Soul, and you're going to love Link Soul. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for